Now you're missing out on one of the best movies of 2025. Not many people have gone to see One Battle After Another, the latest movie by Paul Thomas Anderson, and I'm trying to convince you to go see it because it's a movie relevant to our times and it's just a plain good movie. It's just worth seeing it for the action. It has Leonardo DiCaprio as the main character, but all the cast, all the filmmaking techniques, everything is there to tell a great story. So please go see it. We will talk about it. We will go in detail, but my message right now is please don't waste any more time. Go watch One Battle After Another in movie theaters.
Okay, Johnny, this one's got your number on it. Let's jam.
Welcome back. This is a mini jam for Cinema Jam. Today we're gonna be talking about One Battle After Another, great new movie by Paul Thomas Anderson. Paul Thomas Anderson is one of those great movie directors that we can have right now. This director has only made 10 movies. This is his 10th movie, One Battle After Another, and he has only made 10 movies in the last 30 years or 29 years. So you don't have a big catalog of movies to see of this director, but I truly believe that all the movies that he has released are interesting, most of them are masterpieces. They are worth watching, and especially because you will find something different in each movie. And in this particular case, I think he has really gathered a lot of his elements that normally we see in his movies, but we can appreciate how dynamic and how strong a director has he grown, because this is probably his more action-packed movie. His movies normally tend to be like dramas, especially about, white men. There is a certain type of stereotypes in the movies that he makes, but these movies are very personal, and he really focuses on interesting topics. I mean, even if you go back to Hard A, that is a little bit about casino life, Boogie Nights, about the porn industry in the 70s, Punch Drunk Love, about an anxiety-driven Adam Sandler, The Master, about male egos around the formation of the Scientology Church. So all his movies have something interesting, and you can really tell that he really puts a lot of time and interest into building the script before he really starts shooting the movie, because you can tell that all the thought that he puts on it. It actually reminds me a little bit of about Stanley Kubrick, how detailed he was with his movies. I do appreciate that, Paul Thomas Anderson writes his movies. We can tell that there is a lot of detail in them, and he experiments with a lot of genres. There is still with certain typical things in all his movies, as I mentioned, a male ego, male driven movies, and what are the weaknesses of strong men, or stuff like that. So you will always find that type of things in his movies, but they are still worth exploring, because I actually think he is a great filmmaker and is worth exploring. So his latest movie, One Battle After Another, is the story of Bob, Leonardo DiCaprio character, and how he has been interacted or has been driven to a world of revolutionaries, or a world of, we have to say, terrorists that are trying to overthrow, or at least, change the government in the United States. So the movie is actually based on a book. It's not really closely related to the book. I mean, it takes some elements of it, but when you start watching the movie, you can tell actually that even if this book is from the same, the topics are actually quite present and related to 2025 when the movie was released. So I really appreciate that timelessness, because there is quite a lot of things to digest in the movie, especially around the characters that are around Leonardo DiCaprio's Bob. And it's hard to say that this is a Leonardo DiCaprio vehicle, because he's actually not the most interesting character. He's a bumbling, wash out revolutionary. He's only focus is to rescue his daughter. That is the one that we see in the picture. But his character is so well played that you're never bored about watching what is happening with Leonardo DiCaprio. These are the two main characters. Chase Infinity and Leonardo DiCaprio are basically in almost every single frame of the movie, with the exception of the first 30 minutes. That's when we introduce where he comes from, the family he's trying to build with his revolutionary wife. And that's the interesting thing about the movie, that there is a lot of characters and all of the characters are interesting. I actually never felt that we were being taken to to out, or taking that Paul Thomas Anderson was taking us in a part that wasn't interesting. Everything that was happening in the movie was actually quite interestingly paced. There was always action. There was always something interesting. The conflict was always present, and the conflict within the characters was always there present. The other main character that I want to talk about is the main villain of the movie is actually Sean Penn with the Colonel Loc Joe. And yes, that's the name of the character. So basically, the main conflict is between Leonardo DiCaprio and Colonel Loc Joe. The interesting thing is that these guys actually never met. They are in conflict with each other because of the strong women that are connected to their past. Basically, that's the character played by Teyana Taylor and the daughter that he has with Leonardo DiCaprio, that is Chase Infinity. There are some spoilers related to these relationships and the relationship with Loc Joe, but I'm going to leave that for the moviegoer. I'm not going to go deep into that, but basically, these two strong women are the ones that are driving the plot, although we are always following what is happening with Colonel Loc Joe, Sean Penn character, and Leonardo DiCaprio. And Sean Penn has always been a great actor. I don't think I have ever seen, even his older movies when he was more like a comedian. I thought there was always interesting in his movies. But this is like an impressive performance by Sean Penn. We can see the inner workings of his mind, the conflict inside his mind that he's trying to wrestle with, doing the good thing or doing the bad thing, or doing what he thinks is right for his country. There is such an impressive performance by him. He's walking in like a different person. You can barely recognize him. I actually didn't realize he was in the movie until I stood down and I started watching the movie and I saw him, and I couldn't believe this was the Sean Penn I was used to. So it was a great performance by Sean Penn, and it was worth it. And Leonardo DiCaprio is actually in one interview he did with, I don't remember, it was People magazine or Hollywood Reporter, one of those magazines, one of those pop culture magazines. He was mentioning that his character, Bob, as a revolutionary, is actually, he played it as the opposite of Tom Cruise in the Mission Impossible movies. Tom Cruise is always cool. He knows he's doing the right thing. He's going over everyone, kind of like what is happening with these movies that Brad Pitt is doing. I mean, these Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise are always playing the cool guys, and they know what they're doing, and they are secure, and they don't care about anything else, and they are, even if they're out of their league or out of their age, always the best at what they do. And I talk about that a little bit when I was doing my review of F1, the movie. But in Leonardo DiCaprio plays such a vulnerable guy that he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to do the best for his daughter, played by Chase Infinity, but he just can't get it right. And when their lives are in danger because of the persecution by Colonel Loc Joe, that he's a military leader that has a lot of influence and a lot of power. Basically, they doing a statewide search for them. In the end, he's just trying to do the right thing. Leonardo DiCaprio's Bob is trying to do the right thing, and he just makes mistakes all the time. He's being helped by other people. He's just a small a small grain of salt of a big revolutionary machinery that is happening in the United States, and he's always screwing up. And it was fascinating to see that. And in the end, the women were the only ones that were able to take themselves out of trouble. That happens at the beginning in the first 30 minutes when Teyana Taylor, she is out of the movie pretty early. And then after that, with Chase Infinity, the daughter character, she also has to basically figure out how to save herself. It was an interesting juxtaposition to see in the movie. And there are a lot of reflections of what is happening. So, for example, we're seeing here Teyana Taylor's character with Infinity Chase character learning to shoot a big gun, a big rifle, and there are a lot of those those examples in the movie. In the end, I think there are two main topics of the movie, two main themes. I mean, a lot of people are going to go over, the revolution, we have to fight back and everything. No, that's basically in the background. Yes, it makes the movie more action oriented than we normally get from a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. But the movie is really about the conflict of, Leonardo DiCaprio is a single dad. He has to raise a mixed race child that is Infinity Chase. And as I mentioned, he's a single guy. So that's his conflict. Colonel Loc Joe is, okay, should he be following his dreams, what he thinks is best for his country, even if his ideology is flawed, or should he follow his heart and do the right thing? And there is a little bit of that. I mean, in the end, he's a pretty despicable character, but you still see a little bit of that conflict. That should he be driven by his desires, or should he be driven by his duty, or his or what he thinks is right? And the other theme that is very heavily implied in the movie is that we're always unloading our sins as a father to our kids. And that's basically what is happening with Teyana character. Teyana character name is Perfidia, and she is basically passing the torch to her daughter, Willa. And as well, Leonardo DiCaprio being that old revolutionary, maybe he wasn't old into that. Maybe he was doing it for love, for his love or to Perfidia. He's carrying those scenes, and he's passing those scenes to Willa, and we can see that. I didn't talk a lot about Benicio del Toro's character. I think it was another excellent character. It was the opposite of Bob. While Bob is like bumbling and looking silly and always stressed out, Benicio del Toro was like the cool character, and it was interesting juxtaposition because they share a lot of screen time, and it was worth watching that part of the movie. They had a great chemistry together because Benicio was always, Bob, relax, you have to do this, take a deep breath, I'm gonna help you. And Leonardo DiCaprio was always like with like trying to run and always tumbling or falling down in the floor. But in the end, yeah, go see it. It's worth it. Go support our friend Leo and Paul Thomas Anderson. I think this movie is so good. Is an amazing experience to watch in the theater. I didn't talk a lot about the cinematography. It has great cinematography. It has great music. The music is all nonstop, but it's a music that is always pounding in your heart. A lot of information is another character in the movie. I really appreciate that. I also think that there is a few chase scenes around the movie that are worth it. The first 30 minutes are the most packed because that's where we're seeing, that part of the original revolution, and then it becomes a chase movie where they're trying to catch up with Willa. Well, Leonardo DiCaprio tried to catch up with Willa that she's missing, and he's trying to find out where she is and trying to rescue her from the characters that are taking her away. So enjoy the movie. go see it. It's worth the 2 hours and 40 minutes in the movie theater. Until next time, keep jamming about movies.